Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host. I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the best, recent, cutting edge, most important, applicable, and restorative brain body tools so you could take better control of your energy. Energy, guys. Energy is the currency of life. So you could take better control of your energy, emotions, thoughts, actions, and ultimately your life, where it's going. Today, it's all about energy. Guys, before you jump into the week, I want to ask you, how do you feel on Monday? Do you feel fully refreshed and ready to go? And every day, when you wake up, how do you feel? Do you feel rested, recovered, with your batteries full of energy, or still with this negative feeling that you could use a vacation and that you need more sleep and you need more rest and you don't want to take all of this on and you need to take it easy? How are your energy batteries on a regular basis? Before you jump into the week, I want to talk about deep rest and recovery, and not just subjective feeling in some woo-woo stuff that you can't really measure. No, I'm talking about deep rest and recovery that can be measured, that PhDs base their work on, and then advise people on the best practices, not just for energy levels, but also for health and for optimal aging. Guys, energy is the currency of life, it's the currency of work, it's the currency of your relationships, it's the quality of your life. And if you don't learn how to truly rest and recover, then you're never gonna learn how to fully live. Guys, do you consider your watching TV time or Netflix time, entertaining others, parties, and social media? Do you consider it rest? Because it's actually not that restful. Here is a quote I want to read to you from this article, The Power of Deep Rest. Perpetual stress runs us down, but a truly restorative state that alters our bodies at the cellular level can counter this deterioration. By Juan Perry. And this article was recommended by Dr. Elissa Epel in one of her newsletters. And Dr. Elissa Epel is an international expert on stress, on well-being, and on optimal aging. So this article came out in UCSF, I believe it's University of San Francisco magazine. So the power of deep rest, how to rest on a cellular level. So the quote, cells burn more energy and age faster when they are stressed for long periods. Researchers think that during deep rest, cells redirect ATP, or this energy molecule, major energy molecule in our cells, toward restoration, and overall energy expenditure drops. Keep taking those breathing breaks, I often tell my clients. They make your energy last longer. You'll have less fatigue and more energy for living and working on your goals. The magic of breathing breaks. People always comment on how much energy I have. And the spark that seems to get things and get people moving. Sometimes I think clients hire me just for that vitality boost. And I have my theory on how it works, but today is not about that. One method, guys, that I use all the time to have this high energy levels consistently without any boosters or supplements or stimulants like caffeine. I take breathing breaks, as I call them, all the freaking time. I'm working on something and it might have been 20 minutes. And I take a deep breath, a couple, 3, making sure that my nervous system spends a lot more time in this restorative, parasympathetic mode, or this opposite of stress state, in which researchers think, based on all of the data that they have, our energy use a lot less energy. And because of that, it's like switching this echo mode in your own body. You have more energy because you use less of it. And your cells are literally in the state of energy preservation and restoration, which allows you to make that energy last longer and have more of it available for things like spending quality time with your loved ones or your friends or your partners, and having more energy for pursuits in life that matter to you, whether that's delivering high quality work or perhaps pursuing some hobby, or maybe a personal growth project, or maybe studying more. Dr. Andy Galpin, one of the top trainers, researchers of fitness and athletics, one of the top trainers, and he's also biokineticist and has I think a couple of other degrees related to biochemistry and how to perform our best. He specifically works a lot with elite athletes, and which he makes do breathwork at the end of each workout to switch them faster into this restorative state in which they can recover faster, and so they can go again after it faster and more and better and more intense. So ultimately, they can perform better and achieve greater results. So real recovery versus couch time. I'm talking about today, guys, about deep recovery at the cellular level. And that doesn't come from chilling on the couch, watching Netflix, or going to a party. Another quote from the same article, which, by the way, is linked in the show notes to today's podcast. Certain practices, those that cultivate inner well-being and quiet our minds, can open the door to this fully restorative state. Meditation and yoga are 2 of the most recognized contemplative practices, but many others exist. Prayer, spiritual reading, Japanese practice of therapeutic relaxation in nature known as forest bathing, and movement-based practices like Tai Chi, Qigong can similarly calm and focus mind and body. Again, the same article, The Power of Deep Rest. So are you really resting, guys, or just entertaining yourself? What I learned in my life and in my practice is that most people don't really know how to recover. They entertain themselves. That's what they do. And that's how you end up burned out or on the verge of it very often at the end of each week, at the end of each month, or feeling like a lot of my clients felt when they would come to me for Health 360 coaching, feeling like you never really out of that semi-burned out mode, always feeling that fatigue, that you'd like to just rest, take it easier, take a vacation, and definitely not get out there and seize the day, seize the opportunities. The tricky part about this, guys, is that practices that fully restore you and help you to use energy more effectively and create energy more effectively, and also age optimally and age slower. So the tricky part, I found that practices like meditation, yoga, breath work, or going into nature, they feel like more work at first. Who wants to sit or lie down and meditate, do breathwork, live along yoga after a long day? Isn't it true? You come back home and you often feel like you just want to collapse on the couch and turn on Netflix. That feels like the thing that you need the most. And yet, that same thing doesn't allow you to fully restore, recover on a cellular level. And that same thing doesn't allow you to shake off that fatigue and that slightly burned out feeling. Here is the thing. When you start practicing this, I still am sometimes struggling with this. I'm like in the middle of the day, I'm already getting a little bit, irritated and fatigued. Middle of the day for me is usually after already 7 to 8 hours of work. And I find myself talking myself out of one of my actually favorite practices these days, and still I have to sometimes to remind myself to do it, yoga nidra. When I personally choose to do it lying down, I lie down on my bed and I turn on my favorite body scan protocol on YouTube, available absolutely for free, which was recommended by Andrew Huberman on one of his podcasts. And since then, that specific protocol, 10-minute protocol, became my favorite. I still struggle sometimes with doing it. But then I remind myself, hey, remember after that, you had this second wind for the afternoon to finish the day strong, to keep pushing, to keep moving your vision forward. Hey, remember, because of that, you have more energy at night to learn, to study, things they actually love doing, but they do require energy as well. Sometimes energy that you don't have unless you spend additional time recovering, like yoga nidra. Or I remind myself that I actually need less sleep and will wake up so much more refreshed and I have more positive energy, a more positive mood, I guess. But you see, your mood depends on high energy levels. The more energy on a cellular levels you have, the better your mood is. There is this book, the book about energy and how brain energy and how it seems that our energy producing mitochondria, those energy producing plants in our cells, the better they work, the more energy they produce, the more effective they are, the better our mood is. You see, that spark that I told you about, that people love about me and I feel like sometimes they hire me just for that spark, that depends on energy. And maybe because I learned early on how to create this positive energy balance, that's why I have that spark more often than not. And these days that I'm really nailing the recovery practices, I have more and more of it. And my mood just keeps getting better without any need for hyping it up. I just feel grateful and like ease in the flow, like feeling life, falling in love with the process of living. Some of these words, guys, that I'm using here, they do sound like a woo-woo, but I want you to understand that state that you're in, if it has this slightly negative subtone, it might be, I'm not saying, energy practices are the answer to everything, but energy is the primal driver of life. And so when something is off with your energy producing processes in the body, in the mind, and brain, by the way, is the most energy demanding organ. And it requires 25 energy for being just 3% of your body weight. And your mind, your mental state, your mood depends on that brain energy a lot. So all I'm saying is that Netflix, that couch, going to some bar or a party are not restoring you. And that's how you end up on Monday feeling still fatigued. And by the end of the week, feeling really fatigued, like you need a vacation. You're not really recovering. You're not really resting. Staying up all night watching something is not recovery, is not rest. It doesn't do any good to your cells to restore, to create positive energy balance, so you can be in great mood, you can be in great drive and motivation state, and you can get out there and make things happen. You can't fool yourself. You can't fool your own cells. They know how much energy you have. So do you really rest or just entertain? And again, a lot of these practices, and I still feel it, can feel like more work than they are rest. But once you start doing them, after them, you always feel, I actually feel better. I actually feel like I have more energy. Like somebody just recharged my batteries, or maybe give me a quick energy power bank. So guys, do you rest or just entertaining? If you can't seem to shake that constant fatigue off, chances are you're not truly resting. Here are a few practices, my favorite practices, that might help you to get started to experiment with that and see how you feel. Well, let's first start with those breathing breaks. Basically focusing on your breathing out, on your exhales, making them very, very long. Then breathe in fully and then breathe out again. Do that 3 to 6 times and see how different you will feel already. And then do intentional breathing practices with some meditation app. My favorite is Balance app, like Google Balance app. They have right now free trial for a year, and they have different breathing practices that the guide guides you through. You don't need to think, you just follow. Then another one of my favorite, by the way, breathwork, I again do this breathing breaks every, 20, 30 minutes, quite often, to be honest. I take I take these breaks quite often. And then I usually do one bout of breath work before bed. During my midday, I do a 10-minute yoga nidra protocol. And yoga nidra is basically a body scan. And you can do it seated. I personally find it more comforting lying down. And I do it guided. You can do it self-guided. But if you're a beginner, I highly recommend doing it with some guidance. My favorite YouTube video, I might also actually link it in the show notes. So check it out. Yoga Nidra, 10 minutes. You lie down, sit down, close your eyes, and you basically scan your body. And then there is also a little bit of breath work in my favorite protocol. So 10 minutes. But you'll feel invigorated without that coffee. You'll feel that flow, that just second wind coming into you. And before that, it will also help you to relax, unwind, fall asleep faster, and sleep better. And then try yoga. And you don't have to make it boring. You don't have to make it super complicated, twisting yourself into some pretzel. No, it can be a lot of fun. You can try my favorite Less Mills app, LESMILLS app, and they have 2-week free trial, but they have a lot of different workouts, from strength to cardio to martial arts. They also have breath work and stretching and yoga, and their yoga sequences, they are anywhere from 10 to 55 minutes long. And they go with music, with really great instructors. And sometimes it feels more like a party, but the restorative kind of party, like really great experience. So breathwork with Balance app, Yoga Nidra, with my favorite YouTube guided video that is linked in the show notes. My favorite Les Mills app for yoga. Try this out. And again, I want to warn you, at first, they might feel like more work, but once you do it, and especially once you finish them, you do feel a lot better. And then you'll notice those positive changes. I have more energy now. I sleep better now and wake up more refreshed. On Monday, I don't feel that fatigue. And my mood got better. And all of a sudden, I start seeing life around me and I start feeling like alive, like living it. All of these positive effects will transform your life, transform your relationships, transform your creativity, your work. So many things. They will help you to connect to yourself, to your inner voice, to find your purpose, meaning, to realize your values and priorities, and to understand your identity better. There are so many profound changes going to happen when you learn how to truly rest versus just entertaining yourself. And there is a difference, guys, and your cells feel and know that difference. And heck, it seems like they might also help you to age optimally, which aging optimally, I actually love this term, right? We are all aging. Like nothing is going to stop this process from happening unless there is some miracle technology going to happen in the next 20 to 30 years, which I'm hopeful. I believe it can happen, but looking at life, some processes just keep going. So I'm not sure if we can reverse our clocks backwards. Scientists say it's possible. So let's see. I'm hopeful. But until that, aging optimally is the next best thing. So rest, recover to enhance the quality of your life to the extent that would seem miraculous. But then also, graceful aging. We're all aging is also quite an amazing bonus. So the takeaway from today's podcast, guys, answer this question. Do you truly rest? Do you know how to rest and recover on a cellular level, or you just keep entertaining yourself? Not ever really fully pushing this, pressing that refresh button. Like, do you rest or do you just entertain yourself? And if you're more on entertaining yourself and you often find yourself struggling with fatigue, even if it's after a weekend, then maybe it's time to incorporate those deep recovery practices into your day, into your life. And to start easy, try out Balance app for some meditation, for some guided breath work, or just take deep breath regularly and consistently. Try out Yoga Nidra in the midday or at the end of your day, maybe before learning about that you need to do in order to grow and become perhaps an expert or just really, really good at what you do. Try out yoga with a Les Mills app that I absolutely love, and start recovering, resting, because that is the other side of life lived fully. Thank you guys for tuning in, for your attention, for your presence. Please do share this podcast episode with one other person who you feel might need that extra recovery boost, maybe on the verge of burning out and they just never getting out of it. So share this podcast with them as well. Maybe somebody who feels like they're so busy they can't really sleep more. Well, these practices in micro ways can help you to still get back some of that energy faster. So share this podcast episode with at least one other person. If you also review, rate this podcast on any platform where you get it, that would help me even more to reach more burned out and under-recovered ears. So let's make this world better and more purposeful and fulfilling for a lot of people by sharing this podcast. And till next time, guys, rest, recover, restore, and keep living fully. Talk to you soon. Have an amazing day, whatever that day of the week is, and spend some time truly resting.